I think when we initially started, my father started the new factory, I suppose, in the early 70s, it was solely manufacturing to supply shops, with sofas and chairs and things. So it was solely like a wholesale business. And then it materialized through the troubles and what have you, that people were asking more for contract things because there was a lot of damage being done to hotels and bars and restaurants. And so they adapted into that, I think, by default more than sort of wanting to do it. And it sort of grew gradually from then. At the start, we'd done a lot of work with a company, Guinness, and they owned a sub company called Croft Inns, and they had about 12 pubs. And at the end, we were servicing all those 12 pubs, looking after the maintenance of them and the fit outs of them. So it grew into that really by more default. Yeah. Well, I suppose the fire couldn't really have happened, I suppose, at the worst time. We're sort of There was a bit of light at the end of the tunnel, I suppose, for every business coming out of the COVID. It was starting to open up. Things were starting to move. The downside to it, I suppose, for us was that a lot of the projects we had on last year and that we had finished off, we were storing a lot of furniture for different companies. We had three hotel projects and the Opera House in Drury Lane in London and the Royal Opera House in Belfast. So all those projects were all finished pre-Christmas and they were being held in storage because the projects had run behind for one thing or another due to COVID. So I suppose the fire took a lot of that stuff out, because the main part of the fire was the storage area and was our spray facility and our upholstery facility. So we're very lucky in the fact that the part of the factory that burnt and the part that was saved was all the machinery and all the heavy machinery that we had and stuff. And it was fully up and running within, I suppose, 2 weeks of the fire. So the downside to that was then we had to jump and sort of try and get these projects operational for the people because the hotels were opening and one thing and another. So yeah, there was a lot of work had to go on to try and get the hotels and the opera house and stuff, furniture all remade. So it's only now from the end of July, I suppose, that we're back operational fully with new projects and ready for business. We were very lucky that we moved down just literally a couple of miles down the road. There was the old Amazon factory, a warehouse, and we moved into it. So we made, as soon as we had the fire, we were all over like how we're going to get space. So we've 50,000 square foot down here, and we've got 50,000 roughly up at the existing factory. So from that aspect, we're lucky that we have the same amount of space. We have our workforce all up and running, and we're ready to go again. The architects have just finished completing the drawings for the new build. So we should be building within the next sort of 6 to 8 weeks, rebuilding the old factory and hopefully have it operational for the end of March, April. So that's our plan.
I think it was a devastating blow, but I think the way we reacted, the customers wanted to stay with us. The clients wanted to stay with us. They wanted the projects redone. So it said a lot about the confidence the clients had in ourselves. And the speed at which we got back up and running again gave them all a lot of confidence in the business going forward.
Yeah, I suppose we're back. We're back up towards 100 again. So at the start, I think there was a knee-jerk reaction from a few people. We lost a few staff, and but we lost probably about 8 or 10 staff, and we've got most of them back now. When they seen, I suppose, that we were operational and the thing was going to come back, we got the staff back. So we're lucky from that aspect.
We were also very sure at the whole time to make sure the communication was good, and we wanted the second factory to be very close to the first one because if the employees didn't want, distances to travel. So it was really important, and Paul made sure that there was really positive messages sent out, as did the senior management team, to ensure that the staff were confident that we were going to get back up and running again, and that we were looking out for their interests as well. So, we've really retained the majority of staff, and also I had to take on a few extras just for the logistical problem of getting up and down the road and the transporting, the materials between the two sites. So that has allowed us to employ a few extra people as well. So the message going out is really, really positive for staff, that it's still a really positive place to come and work.
Certainly, one of the big things that I would, for us in the last few months, is people to certainly look at their insurance and in a very, very detailed manner of what they think they're insured for and what they are insured for is two different items, which we have found out the hard way, I suppose, a little bit.
I think as well, from a part of the management team, is having a strong leader who sends out a strong positive message as well, which helps. And he's not scared of doing some of the hard work as well, so I think that's really important. And that the message that comes from the top is important, and that it's clear and understood, because it helps the rest of the team be prepared to give as much as they can.
I think we're starting to come out of it now, Nick, a little bit. Certainly for our business is mainly around hospitality. And of course, obviously, it was the hardest business probably hit by COVID from March last year, with the closures and then open up and then closures again. So I think, over the last 4 or 5 months, the hotel market in the UK and Ireland has been very busy, obviously, because people haven't been traveling abroad the way they would have before. So the hotel sector is obviously busy at the moment. So, some of the things that were the expansions and some of the refurbs that were in place will kick off now again, obviously, because the things starting to open up. Last year, just before I suppose the COVID hit, we had our expansion. So we were starting to build our shed. So obviously the COVID hit, and we put that on the long finger. And then obviously we've had the fire. So at the moment then obviously are concentrating on getting factory rebuilt. But we're also looking to build the extension as well going forward. Here probably in the start of now next year.